Hey guys, it's Bailey from Making Up the Midwest, and this is going to be a top 5 in under 5 video all on my favorite lip dupes. I want to clarify, some people have pretty stringent definitions of what a dupe or duplicate product means, and so I went on my Facebook page to ask you guys what you wanted to see in a dupe, and pretty much the overwhelming response was that it has to look very similar when worn, and if they aren't exactly the same, the differences should be pointed out. So that's exactly what this video is going to be. If that's not your definition of a dupe, you can click right out. So let's get started. First, I want to start with nudes. I have here Butter London's lipstick in Toasted Marshmallow, which is a very true nude with slightly pink undertones. What I found that came closest to it that I had on hand was Rimmel's Moisture Renew lipstick, and this is in the shade Nude Delight. It has a slightly more apricot undertone, but besides that, these are very, very similar. The Moisture Renew has a little bit more slip when you apply it to the lips. It's slightly more hydrating, whereas the Butter London has a thicker consistency and I find has a longer lasting power, but they look very, very similar when worn. While I'm still on the nudes, I want to compare again Rimmel's Moisture Renew in Nude Delight to Urban Decay's Naked 2. The Naked 2 lacks that same apricot undertone that the Moisture Renew has, but it's still very, very similar on the lips. The primary difference being that the Urban Decay lipstick is very, very creamy. It's a little more opaque than the Moisture Renew, and it has a little bit of a longer lasting power as well. Additionally, it is $22 for this, and like I said, only $5 or $6 depending on where you can find the Rimmel. Moving on to some brighter colors, this is probably the closest dupe I have found yet in my collection, and they are two lip liner pencils. One is from Prestige. It is just their normal lip liner in the shade Poppy. This retails for about $4.50. It's really more of an orange leaning shade, I would say, and less pink, which I more associate with Poppy, and it is nearly a dead ringer in appearance with Urban Decay's 24/7 Glide On Lip Pencil in the shade Bang, which retails for $20 individually. The primary differences I find is that the Prestige is a little harder. I think a lot of us can agree that that's pretty much always the case with drugstore lip liner pencils. As they get cheaper, they get a little bit harder. They can be a little more rough and less forgiving on dry lips, whereas the Urban Decay is like butter, glides on very smoothly, and it's a little more moisturizing, especially for a liner. I find that's less common with liners and more so with lipsticks. So there is a definite quality difference, but like I said, in terms of appearance, they look very nearly identical. Now let's talk reds. Another Urban Decay product I have here is their Revolution lipstick, and in the shade 69, and it's really a nice true red. It is also very, very similar. This retails for $22, I believe, but it's very similar to the Physicians Formula Sexy Booster Sexy Glow Glossy Stain in just the shade red, and it's currently what I'm wearing on my lips now. This retails for about $10, whereas like I said, this goes for $22. In terms of consistency, the lipstick definitely has a creamier, more moisturizing texture, whereas the Glossy Stain, it's not tacky, but it definitely has a different consistency. However, I find that the Urban Decay is so emollient that sometimes it can go outside the lines, whereas this Sexy Booster is a true stain. It lasts so stinking long throughout the day, it's not even funny. However, it really does not do any favors for my dry lips. It kind of made them worse throughout the day, so moisture, stick with Urban Decay, but this is a really, really nice stain for $10. Up next are plums. This is from Mary Kay. It's the shade Mystic Plum from their True Dimensions lipstick line. Probably one of my favorites because the shades are so creamy and smooth yet so pigmented. They're like Revlon lip butters on crack. They're unbelievable, but they are also $18. So you have this in the shade, like I said, Mystic Plum, but at the same time you have a $4 alternative in this Cherry Moya shade in Cabaret. The primary differences between the two is that the Mary Kay is definitely going to feel more luxurious on the lips, the packaging is definitely more luxe, and it's overall has a balmier finish, whereas the Cherry Moya or Sherry Moya is a little more opaque, but this is also very hard to come by. When you Google the brand, they aren't really available from an authorized retailer that I can tell, but a lot of you had told me that you've seen them in dollar stores. So really, the dupe goes both ways, whether you want to spend the money for a sure thing or whether you want to go out looking for a dupe for the more expensive one that is sometimes harder to find. Either way, I find they are very close to each other, but for the fact that one is a little more moisturizing and has a little bit of a balmier finish. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you want to see any other top 5 and under 5, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!